Welcome to our Projects in iOS course from Edgionics. My name is Brett. In this lesson, we begin wiring in our table view and also starting to build in the quiz scene and making our app a little more interactive. Okay, so now we're going to work with our prototype cell, and what I'm going to do is add a new file. We're going to add iOS Cocoa Touch, and we're going to select the subclass for a table view cell. So that one there, it's going to call it custom table view cell, and we can go ahead next, create. Here's our class, drag that up here. Now we're going to go into the storyboard and we can start creating our IB outlets for the image and these two labels. So I'm going to open up the assistant editor. And what I want is the custom cell over here. Let's see if I can get that without getting these interfaces in the way. So there's a view controller. Let's see, those are just the interfaces. I'm not sure if that's going to work. So go to automatic. And let's see if I've got it available in a drop down. No, I don't. So I'm going to click over here, and I don't think this side over here is going to load the custom cell. It isn't. So I'll have to try, let's see, app 1, this is what I wanted, and custom cell, just kind of navigate through that tree. All right. So in here, I'm going to start with the image and do a control drag, and we can just call this cell image outlet. Got a UI image view type. Now I'm going to create the top label, control drag, top label, and that is a UI label, control drag, and create the bottom label. Okay, and then back in the view controller right here, we want to go ahead and work this a little bit more. This isn't exactly what we want. So let's see, we're going to create a cell that's going to come from table view, and we want to DQ, there it is, reusable cell with identifier. We want this one here with the index path. This is going to be cell, this is going to be index path. And we're going to cast it. So we're not getting a regular cell. We want the cell that we just finished adding the IB outlets for, which is our custom cell. So this is just going to be custom table view cell. And we'll probably need to do some casting on that, or some forced unwrapping. Okay, so I'm going to need to return this cell. This right here, this identifier is coming out of the prototype cell. So if I go back into the storyboard, bring up this utility panes, I think it's the attribute inspector, and I click on my prototype cell. Here it is. So in the attributes inspector, we have identifier cell. So that's a name we gave it earlier. All right, so back over here, we can keep working this section. We're going to go ahead and start assigning the attributes for the two labels and the image. So we have cell, we have top label. Let's see, that is not picking up. Cell, top label. Let's see, try bottom. No, none of them are coming through. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild this. Build for running. So at least make sure everything is building at this point. All right, let's see if we can get something different here. Cell, top label. There it is. That's good. We want text equals, and we're going to have to get some categories here. So we have at the top of this one, we don't have those categories, so we're going to just, we're going to fill this in, test, or rather top label, and cell, bottom label, text, bottom label, and image. So we have cell image. Image, let's see if that's right. Image equals UI image And we want a string in here. So let's see, that's not the one, this is the one. We're going to use president with a lowercase p. And if we go and look in our assets, we are going for this one, president. So everything else we have S's, but we left an S off of president, so that's okay. And right now I think that will work. So I'm going to put some breakpoints to make sure this is all firing, and I'll load this. We're back in an iPhone 6. I probably should have just done a 5 so it wouldn't be so big. All right. This is now firing. That's firing. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these and let it continue. All right, so there we are, and our cell is valid, it looks like. Let that run out. Let's see, that's going to go for 10 times. And there we are. So bottom label, top label. We don't need to worry about these ellipses because we're only going to have numbers right there when this eventually gets worked out. So if we look at our navigation, go back over here, this right here, this title, I think we had a title there earlier, but I'm not seeing anything in it. Here it is. Okay, so we can do super quiz, and then that should display. Let's see, we're not getting anything right now in there. Let's go back here to document outline. So this one right here is the entry. That's actually, I think the navigation controller that we can't see. So navigation item, this is where we actually want our super quiz, I believe. There it is. All right, so that should now display. And it does. Perfect. Okay, so one other thing we want to do is get our indicator in each cell to display this indicator right here in our design. So if we go back into here, click on the table view, most likely what's happening is that it's just not being adjusted for different sizes of devices. It's kind of, I believe, wider than it needs to be. So it's pushing off to the right and pushing off to the right just enough that we can't see this indicator. So we're going to add some constraints. I'm going to go down here to the pen icon at the bottom, remove these margins, and click on all these I-beams so that now we extend our table view in all directions to the edge of the application window frame. So I'll add those constraints, and let's go ahead and run this in the iPhone 6 since we already have that up and going. Then we'll go into the 5 and see what happens. So there they are. I'll stop this and switch over to the 5 and run. All right, so there they are again. That is looking good. Now if we go over here, we'll have to do a little bit of cleaning up on our constraints there. And in fact, I think that is going to be a quick fix on this button. So what we want, we'll go back into pen. We want to pin this so that it stretches all the way to the edges on the left and the right, and that should align it. And let's see, we can go ahead and pin the top, I believe, and leave the bottom alone. And it's complaining, so let's see, it wants height, so add height. It's not moving, that's good, so fix this, that's good. And let's see now if that button is aligned. Go over here, and it is. So our question is gone at this point, so we'll need to do a little bit of adjusting there, and that is gone because we added this navigation at the top right there. So let's see, we have that's our label. Actually, to make this work, we should probably just do, this is a test question. Save. Now let's run that. I think it will not be there, so we'll have to do some adjusting on that point, that one. Okay, so there we go. And we are, let's see, going to move this down a little bit. So I think everything needs to go down. There's our label. And I'm not sure about where it's going to go, but this view here needs to go down. Let's see, this view here. So give up, this is a test question that's all in that, well, that's the bigger view that they're all in. We'll probably have to start over with those constraints for the button, since now we need to move a few of these. So this is the largest view. This is the gray view, which this does not need to be in. So the question, does it need to be in that view? So there's the gray one. And that might be the whole reason why this was not visible. This needs to go here. And then I want it at the top. I don't want it to fall into that. So let's see, we have that. I'm gonna go ahead and try and pin this. Let's see, move the constraints. I don't know if this 20 from the top even makes any sense, but those are two constraints. So let's see, it needs a Y position. I think that probably will still be hidden. We need to move some of these other elements down. So let's go over here. All right. So I'm going to take this view right here and move that down. Now take this label, move that down here. All right, so that gets it out of the way of this navigation. I can move this, not that, but this view back up a little bit. Right, not right there. I want to go ahead and make sure I've got my height set on this, because I think we changed it earlier, maybe not. 42. Now I can take this and move it right there. Okay, so I'm going to let this work out, these constraints, then we'll go in and see if we can fix everything. So I don't want that happening. I want to just update the constraint and not the entire frame. Let's see, that I don't want happening. Just update the constraint. And let's see, that's still not what I want. Update the constraint. Update the constraint. So this one's not playing along. So I'm going to go and start working on these constraints. With this one here, I'll add these margins, 0 to the top. That's it. That's all I want there. So let's see, this is still not the one I want to adjust. For this view, I am going to go ahead and do these margins, do this 41, add. I think that will take care of it. Let's see, we just have that one constraint I'm going to leave alone because it makes my label disappear. And go into here. All right, so one thing we didn't do is center this, but there is our question, and we're going to want a little bit more space there. So this here, we can add some constraints to this and this. That should take care of it. So let's see here, we're going to add missing constraint. Okay, so that is centered. Now we just need this to be a little bigger. Take up that orange right there. So let's see here, we have, I'm going to go ahead with this. I think that may be causing problems. All right, so that is gone. And let's see here. We want to fix this height, go back to 42, expected 20. So I think I need to remove an older constraint. If I go into this label, look at the constraints here. So I'm not sure where it's coming from that it's wanting that 21. I'm not seeing that. So this constraint is for the button. We don't need to worry about that. Add constraint to 31. Is that what we want? I'm going to control drag. I want this to the top. So let's see. Center horizontally equal this aspect ratio, vertical spacing to layout guide. So that may work. Now if I run this, looks like they want us to do a little bit of adjusting on these constraints. So let's see how close we are. Nope, still nothing there. So I will go ahead. This is going back to that height of 20, and we don't want 20. We want it to stay with 41. I'm not sure why it keeps going to that 20. I am going to go ahead and add a constraint for a height right there, 42. I think that will fix it. If it does, it should take up that additional orange as well. Yes, so that's looking good. And if we run that on the iPhone 6, let's see, we should get similar kind of output. All right, so let's go back to the simulator. And we are. So this is all looking pretty good. All right, next we can add our buttons in here and get those formatted so that they look well across multiple devices as well.